What the hell's the deload? Well, it's an intentional reduction in training volume, intensity, in order to facilitate recovery to set you up for future weeks of training. Basically, training easier, a lot easier than what you have been doing the previous weeks. Let's go train. So, why do a deload? Again, very simple. As you train over the course of weeks, your gym performance should go up. But as it goes up, so does your fatigue. Eventually you're gonna get to a point where you can't improve performance anymore, and you'll be so fatigued that your performance might even decrease, right? And then we deload, we get rid of all that fatigue, and then we're ready for another 4 to 8 weeks of productive training. So in order to structure your deload week is very simple. The weights that you're going to use is the weights that you did in the first week of your training block. Okay, so if week 1 you did 60 kilograms, but week 4 you did 80, you're gonna go back to week 1's training weight. Okay, very simple. The next thing you're gonna do is cut your sets, right? So what you're gonna do is cut the total number of working sets that you're doing per muscle group by half. So if you're training your chest with 10 sets per week on the last week of training, you're gonna cut that down to 5 sets, sorry. With the repetitions, most likely for all your exercises, you have a repetition range. So 8 to 12, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, those sort of things. Best thing to do is hit the lower end of the rep range for every single set, okay? So if the first week you were doing 60 kilograms for sets of 8 to 10, this week you're just gonna do 60 kilograms for sets of 8, right? That's gonna make it a lot easier. Chances are you're gonna stay well far away from failure and you'll be golden, all right? And the number of sets are gonna be cut in half, so you're gonna find that your workout length is gonna be gone from maybe an hour to like 40, 30 minutes in total. And this is a really good opportunity for you to then combine workouts. So if you're doing like a push-pull legs, you could then combine your push and pull, just do an upper, so then you've got more days off in the gym. One thing I'm a huge fan of is having 1 to 2 rest days at the end of your deload so that you're nice and fresh going into your new training block. That's it, that's how to structure a deload. More interestingly, I've got company today. So one thing just to note, right, that's just a guideline, right? You don't have to follow that, right? You might find that week 1 was actually really tough for you. So the example I gave with 60 kilograms for sets of 8 to 10, even doing in your deload week 60 kilograms for sets of 8 actually might be too hard, right? This is where you've got to be in tune with your yourself, right? It might be that you need to reduce your weight from week 1 even further for your deloads. So instead of doing 60 kilograms, maybe just drop it down to 50, right? And I would actually advise that when you're doing when your rep range is sort of below 10, usually even the heavier weights can be sort of, even week 1 weights can be quite tough during a deload. So make sure, the key thing to think about here is the session should be really easy, right? the weight should be very light, the reps should be very low in comparison to what you've been doing, and just the overall intensity should be very low. Like, you want to be finishing the sets and thinking, I could have done 5, 6, 7, 8 more. I don't get a pump. You're not going to feel sore. You're not even going to feel tired. You're going to feel like you didn't even work out. That's the whole point of a deload. So yeah, there's a number of ways you can do that. You can cut your weight in half if that's what it takes, right? So your week, the last week of your training, maybe you did 100 kilograms, and maybe you just cut that in half, nice and easy, right? And you just focus on your previous week's performance. That's another way of going about it. Tons of ways, there's no right or wrong way. The key thing here is to achieve the principle, or what actually the deload is aiming to achieve, and that is reduce the fatigue, get plenty of energy back, and have your motivation come back to actually want to train hard again, right? Because right now during your deload, you're probably in a state where training's a bit boring, stale. You might just be finding the motivation hard to actually train hard. But when you go into the gym, you're doing like weights, you see everyone else working hard, that can sort of spur you on, right? And you want to use that to your advantage when you go into your next training week. All right, just wanted to say that. I just wanted to say there's no actual real structure to it. Number of ways you can do it. How you do it is completely up to you. Just use your previous week's data and make things a lot easier compared to what you've been doing. So a little bit of time has passed. We've been out, we've chilled, we've taken Grayson for a walk. One of the amazing things about deloading that a lot of people forget about is all the extra time you have, right? And if you've got a family, if you've got work, like, taking a deload can just be good psychologically more so than just physically, right? A lot of people think that it's just about physical and being optimal all times. Like, come on, man, like, we all have lives to lead, lives to lead, lives to live. Which is it? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, we've all got lives to live or lead. We've all got lives to lead, so having a bit of extra time can be really good. And actually taking deloads in a sense of, or taking deloads when times are busy, when work is extra busy, when life is extra stressful, that can be a really good way of strategically placing them, even though physically you might have a bit more room or a bit more energy in the tank. So yeah, don't forget about that. Anyway, the reason I sort of started up again is we've been to the shop. I'm just going to share with you what I bought, and then we're going to talk about sort of nutrition around deloading as well. So let's have a look at this. We've got a nice fancy bag here. So we got chocolate, more chocolate, more chocolate, pink lady apples, strawberries, easy forms of protein, already cooked, chicken and Chinese style pork. So this in total is about 60 plus grams of protein, actually closer to 70. So yeah, and then the OG yogurt. So that's what we have. So two things, right? These are really good if you're lazy and can't be bothered cooking. It's a bit more expensive, but for 70 grams of protein, very quick, very easy. This, if you don't have this, like, make sure you're having it. Like, a 1 tub of this is, let that focus in. There we go. So a third of the pot is 15 grams of protein. So the whole tub, 45 grams for less than 300 calories. So what should you do with your nutrition around your deloading? Again, it's very simple, right? It depends on whether you're dieting, trying to lose weight, or you are massing or bulking, trying to gain weight, right? But either way, you want to end up, or want to adjust your calories most likely to around maintenance. So that is the number of calories you need to just maintain your weight. The reason being is, so two reasons actually. If you're gaining weight currently and then you go into a deload, the reason that you want to probably bring calories down to maintenance from your bulking calories is because you're in a deload, you're not training actively. So during this deload period, you're not actively trying to build muscle, all right? So you probably don't need as many calories. And then with dieting, Again, the purpose of dieting is to get rid of any fatigue. So the reason you want to bring your calories back up to maintenance is it's going to really, if you're trying to get rid of fatigue, why not do everything you can to get rid of fatigue, right? So you're already doing the training part, so just do the nutrition part as well. Now, the downside of this is that it may take a little longer to diet or reach your goal weight because you're having to bring your calories back up. But what a lot of people find is as you bring your calories up, stress levels reduce, you just feel better overall, and it sort of sets you up nicely for the next few weeks. And sometimes you might get lucky and you just might not lose weight. You might lose weight even still, right? Which is an extra bonus. So yeah, either way, if you're bulking, you want to bring your calories down. If you're dieting, you want to bring your calories up, both at maintenance, right? So it's going to meet at that maintenance level. To be honest, like, this is something I've not done in the past. Whenever I've deloaded, I've just kept calories the same. So if I've been bulking, I've kept calories the same. If I've been dieting, I've kept calories the same. The downside of doing that isn't too much. The only time you're really going to see that most likely is you might just gain a little bit of fat extra quick if you're in a bulk. And then if you're dieting, you might find that you fatigue quicker in your next mesocycle, right? So instead of being able to go for 5-6 weeks, you might only be able to go for 4. So in the long run, it's not that great, but in the short term, you probably won't see that much difference. But I definitely advise, and I've found that sort of going to maintenance definitely helps. I say that actually this block, I didn't have to change my calories at all because my bulking calories turned into my maintenance throughout the course of the mesocycle. So next week, I will then be bumping up my calories. For those that are interested, disclaimer, don't use my calories or macros or anything like that for you. It should be completely customized, right? Which is why a lot of people don't share it. But for myself, just because one person might be interested, I'm currently at 2,800 calories, around 200 grams of protein, and 70 to 80 grams of fat. The rest being carbs, so about 300 plus grams of carbs. Most likely next week when we go back into our normal style of training, those calories are going to be bumped up to 3,000 maybe. I'm gonna let coach decide on that. So yeah, so that is what we've covered so far, right? We've covered the why do we deload, how to deload, when to deload. Have we covered when to deload? Maybe, maybe not. And then what to do with your nutrition when you're deloading. And that's basically it. We've covered everything to do with deloading. Maybe. Have I missed anything? You let me know. Let me know in the comments if I've missed anything to do with deloading. But if you have any questions, do feel free to shout or get them in the comments, like I said. But we're going to conclude the video there officially. I can't confirm if this is actually going to be the end, but this is going to be the official end. So hopefully you found this video at least somewhat informative. If you did, maybe give it a like, maybe even subscribe, like my shit, comment, subscribe. Holla back at your boy. That was terrible. Terrible, terrible. If you liked the video, like it, and I'll speak to you soon.